Thank you for coming. Terima kasih banyak. Nak cakap bahasa Inggeris ke bahasa Melayu? You choose lah. English. Okay. Tidak nanti kata saya boleh cakap bahasa Inggeris. Okay. Now, yesterday was the council 100th day. Since it was formed by Ahmad Perdana Menteri on the 12th of May 2018. Yeah. In the course of the 100 days, the Council has carried out the mandate that was given, that is to advise Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri on economic, financial matters, including the reviewing government programs and policies. We have completed the mandate that was given to us, and our report containing recommendations for the consideration of Yang Berhormat Prime Minister we submitted to him upon his return from China. The Council has met over 350 individuals and more than 200 organizations, ranging from regulatory and enforcement agencies, trade associations, chambers of commerce, corporations, SMEs, bankers, contractors, taxi drivers, hawkers, consumers, producers, retailers, farmers, activists, artists, NGOs, disabled community, and many others. We also met with many GLCs, JLICs, investors, and statutory bodies. These numbers do not include the sessions that were held separately by the CEP Secretariat, the 1MDB Committee, the Institutional Reforms Committee, and the two task forces that were formed by the Council to look to the East Coast Railway Link project and projects entered into by Surya Strategic Energy Resources in Dewan Bahar. Our engagement with these key stakeholders were crucial to the work of the Council, as it has enabled us to gather ground-level input and issues facing the economy and the rakyat. We thank them for sharing their views, concerns, and recommendations with us. I would be remiss not to mention the Council's appreciation to the government ministries who had worked alongside the Council on a number of matters. As you are aware, the Council was formed before the establishment of a full cabinet. Let me just put on record that after the formation of a full cabinet, the CEP has worked in consultation with the relevant ministries to obtain their input and feedback wherever necessary. We thank them for their cooperation and assistance. It was a real challenge to ensure that the feedback we received from all the various stakeholders would be addressed in our recommendations. But it was a challenge that the Council and the Secretariat took seriously to overcome within the relatively short period of time, given that we had to fulfill our own mandate. In the end, we would like to think that we met this challenge. To be honest, we do not expect the magnitude and severity of the problem to be this grave. We had anticipated to find weaknesses in the financial conditions of the nation and poor levels of governance in government as well as government agencies, but we were extremely disheartened to learn the extent of the damage. None of us thought it would be that pervasive and systemic. The Council realized from the very first day just how there the solution was, and it has remained a constant theme throughout the duration of our 100 days. Our recommendations have been put forward to the final report, which we submitted to YAB Prime Minister when he arrives back from his visit to China, as I mentioned earlier. The report on institutional reform has already been submitted earlier on 19 July 2018. The Council would like to thank the Secretariat and members in the Institutional Reform Committee and the YMDB Committee who have assisted the Council in producing these reports. The Council also acknowledges and appreciates the contribution and expertise provided by institutions such as PNB, Khazanah, the PF, WAP, Stamp Duty Property, UMW Holding, and EPU. Whether or not the contents of the recommendation will be made public will be up to the discretion of Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri. What I can share with you is that the recommendation made in this report have prioritized three key needs. Number one, the need to improve governance. Number two, the need to improve well-being of the rakyat. Number three, the need to ensure our country's economy can grow sustainably. Being fully aware that economic reform on its own cannot bring the desired changes unless accompanied by institutional reforms, the first part of the Council recommendation deals with governance issues and institutional reforms. We have seen abject and pervasive failure in government in many agencies, especially those pemegang amanah. We are disappointed that those who are entrusted to protect the nation have let us down. There is paramount need to uphold the integrity of our federal institution and regulatory framework. We must ensure that the issues such as overspending and non-beneficial mega projects, financial scandal such as YMDB, and the breakdown in institutional governance such as FLDA and Tabung Haji will not be repeated ever again. The CEP reform recommendation include measures to strengthen the independence of Malaysia's core institutions, enhance the governance framework. Among others, we have proposed for the introduction of more effective central measures to improve preemptive surveillance and monitoring of these institutions. The IRC had, among others, looked into areas of parliamentary reforms, judiciary empowerment, the concentration of executive powers, evolution of oppressive legislation, enforcement of government agencies reform, all of which the aim to end the era of pandemic corruption and abuse of power that have plagued the country. The reforms are important building blocks toward achieving our aspiration to be an inclusive, developed nation. Our second focus was to look into ways to address multidimensional poverty and imbalances in society, and ways to improve programs and policies that are key to ensuring the well-being of the rakyat, especially for the urban poor and those in rural areas, consumers and producers alike. As long as these are marginalized and disadvantaged groups, we must assist them, but our intervention must bring a positive impact in the long run. Again, the issues were many and deep, and given the limited time, we have to focus on selected issues related to cost of living, such as housing affordability, fuel subsidy, our social protection system, the former BRIM, toll rates, and pension schemes. These are effectively the key items affecting the rakyat, including the urban poor, those in rural areas, consumers, and producers alike. We also have looked into the Berikut agenda with the absolute focus to make it work this time. Especially for the Berikut, there's a need to enhance the government programs and policies to induce positive mindset change among those in the community. We want to get it right this time around. We also undertook a comprehensive assessment into the Berikut agenda and the agencies in charge of implementation. We observed significant functional overlaps which led to an effective execution. Our recommendation covers supporting policies, and infrastructure that will ensure a more efficient implementation of the Bumi Putra agenda. The Bumi Putra agenda is not inconsistent with the national agenda of inclusivity and economic progress for all Malaysians. We want to ensure the agenda will not be detrimental to the economic growth nor at the expense of all the interests of other groups, and will be able to meet the macro objective of reducing the inter-ethnic growth gaps and overall socio-economic well-being of the Bumi Putra community. Aside from the action plan addressing the inclusivity agenda, what we are most excited about is our recommendation on improving education for our young VIPs, that is, our children who are the nation's future. And not just for the Bumi Putra, but for all Malaysian children. We have proposed for greater use of technology and for more resources to be reallocated to focus on preschool, primary and secondary education. Our recommendation on all these issues were guided by three principles. Firstly, affordability. Possible solution must be within what the government can afford. Secondly, delivery mechanism must be effective. Thirdly, the solution must provide greater impact and upward social mobility to the targeted groups. The Council has also deliberated on how to grow the economy which is inclusive and sustainable. Malaysia needs to attract quality investment. One of the key recommendations include the development of a new framework for investment incentive be part of a new economic transformation plan with the aim to reverse the structural decline of the economy. This requires replacing irrelevant existing incentives with new ones that are outcome-based and promote sustainable growth. We have proposed for a new comprehensive national investment technology policy framework that includes more than just tech incentive, but also other measures to improve the investment climate, such as human capital development and infrastructure upgrading. The government and administration of fiscal incentive will also need to be streamlined into a more coherent structure, potentially anchored on the lead agency implementing the national investment and technology policy. Physical incentives should also be time-bound and explicitly included as tax expenditure in the physical budget process. In addition to all these, we have also recommended ways to increase revenue and optimize expenditure. The Council has also proposed alternative tax mechanisms and established engagement with the relevant stakeholders to undertake impact analysis. There is a need to ensure that the overall tax policy in Malaysia can be more progressive, fair and balanced. It is imperative that the government fiscal position and the balance sheet of the government be expeditiously improved to restore Malaysia's physical space. It would enable the government to undertake counter-cyclical policies that could weather further shock face the country economy. Over and above all this, the government must play the key and central role in delivering quality public services and safeguarding the strategic interests of the country. These fundamental yet critical functions currently fall short of public expectation due to the bleak state of the government financial position arising from years of management, poor government practices, and the incompetent corruption of those in the civil service. I must state that there are no quick fixes to the problem that I mentioned earlier, and that many changes still lie ahead. The government and Rakyat must be ready to make and expect many difficult decisions for the long-term benefit of the nation. It is the message that our recommendations were not exhaustive and in any part a cure to solving the many issues facing our beloved country. It may provide a significant positive change to Malaysia Baru for everyone. The Council hopes that the recommendation can provide a framework that will safeguard the interests of future generations so that mistakes of the past are not repeated. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Yang Amat Perdana Menteri for the privilege and honor and the mandate given to assist the government in creating a better future of Malaysia Baru. With the support, understanding and patience of the rakyat, the Council is confident the government will be able to deliver the mandate. We appreciate a future where everyone has a place under the bright Malaysian sun, where no matter who and where we are proud to call this beloved country of ours home. Thank you.
For promoting the China-Malaysia relationship in the 100 days. And second, I also hope to know, because Prime Minister Mahathir is in China's visiting, so what will this visiting take, what kind of interest will this visiting take to the Malaysia's future development?
Okay.
So 2 questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, our role is advisory. The question you asked is the role of the government. Okay? So the government will handle your question. Okay? Not me, not the council.
Yeah, but I know that last month you come to China as a representative of the Prime Minister. So the CEP did play a quite important role in promote the China-Malaysia relationship since in the past times.
Yeah, okay. That role was given to me. You know? The Prime Minister appointed me as special envoy to China to pave the way for his visit. That's all. And he's there now. Okay? I came back, I reported to him. You know? That's also my role, and I've done my part.
So what will the Mahathir's visiting to China take the interest to Malaysia's future?
You got to ask him when he comes back.
Yeah, by your thinking. By your thinking.
Yeah. Sorry.
Will the council be still in operations after this report and recommendation?
Our mandate is 400 days, as I mentioned earlier. Our last day was yesterday.
The Prime Minister was saying that he still needs your...
Yeah, okay. When he comes back, I will make an appointment to see him and consult him what role he has in mind. Yeah? In the meantime, as far as we are concerned, we have finished our 100 days and everybody has gone back to their respective jobs. These are volunteers. Okay?
So, after 600 days are over, will you be open to doing any hand-holding sessions with the government with regards to implementing the recommendations that you have put out? Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll be submitting our report to the Prime Minister when he comes back.
Sorry, Rizal ada berita harian. Tun nak tanya, kalau sebelum ni Tun Mahathir kata PM kata masih memerlukan, jadi pada pandangan CEP, apakah yang CEP boleh bantu dan bantuan dalam bentuk apa lagi selepas 100 hari yang mungkin pernah dibincangkan dengan PMD?
Ya, terima kasih. Saya tak tahu lah. So saya kata bila Perdana Menteri balik, saya akan bincang dengan dia. Ya, sekarang as far as you can tell, dia committed about task. Ya. Ya.
Tapi kan jelas kita dah kasih tahu umumkan kepada semua yang CP dia masih memerlukan nasihat. Adakah segala bentuk apa bentuk komunikasi antara tim dengan kita?
Belum lagi.
Ada reaction ada apa komunikasi?
Belum lagi. Ya, belum lagi. Kerana lepas dia buat pengumuman, dia pergi ke China. Ya, tak sempat jumpa lagi. Bila dia balik, insyaAllah saya akan buat temu juga berjumpa dengan yang mahu.
Mengenai kalau macam adakah Tun Daim terbuka bagi macam pembentukan satu majlis international economic council macam di Majlis Penasihat Kerajaan ini? So adakah Tun akan nasihat ataupun darat untuk menumbuhkan?
Okay. Ya, dulu NAC pun after a period of time ambil lah. Yeah. We submit our recommendation dan Cabinet take over lah. Then the Prime Minister will study the recommendation, bring it to the Cabinet, and the Cabinet take over lah. It's the role of the government, so the government to implement, not us. Yeah. No, as far as concerned, 100 days over. It's over. The mandate is 100 days and it's over. Yeah. They all have gone back. These are volunteers. You know, all of them are volunteers. They got their job to do. They've gone back to their job. Yeah? Even the secretariat, they are all volunteers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's important to maintain the 30% or to be achieved? What's your view on that?
No. My view is not important. The government view is important. Okay? The government view is important.
Value your view.
No. No. As I said, these recommendations are meant for the Prime Minister, and it's up to him. You know? I cannot reveal because we are all under OSA.
So it's open for a permanent role, sir?
Yeah.
For a permanent role, it's open to if PM need you as a permanent role to advise the government. Are you open for that?
In life, nothing is permanent except paying tax. Yeah.
Can I have the CP's point of view on your CPTPP? What's the advice and recommendations to the government?
I have mentioned to you, the rest I cannot. The rest I told you, we are under OSA. This is up to the government to decide whether they want to make it public. It is up to the government, not to us.
Tuan, tidak saja Syawali Tuan sini.
Ya.
Penubuhan CP ni dibincangkan secara serius dalam Parlimen Menteri. So nak tanya, daripada sebab tadi Tuan cakap we will submit the report to the Prime Minister, ada tak sepanjang satu hari ini recommendation sudah diguna pakai oleh kerajaan, for example stabilizing the oil price atau macam tu?
Saya dah sebut tadi, our role is to study the issues, analyze and make recommendation. Then up to the government to decide what they want to do, not for us.
Jadi ada tak yang recommendation sudah CP nampak katanya diguna pakai sepanjang satu hari?
Tak tahulah saya, mana saya tahu.
Yeah. Okay, I want to ask you, I think the government has said that the operation of toll will involve around 400 billion of monies. But what is the CP view on the Pakatan Harapan's proposal to abolish the toll? Is it achievable given the huge amounts involved?
Yeah. I don't know where you got the figure for 400 billion. That must have come from the previous government. No, as I said, I cannot reveal the exact figure, but it's not 400 billion. Yeah. Whether the government to abolish, whatever to do, we have made our recommendation. You know, we have made our recommendation. It's in the paper, and we have to wait lah. Kena sabar lah. Yeah. Okay.
One question. So, after 100 days working in CEP, so by your view, what's a serious problem of the Malaysian society, and what's the most successful reform made by the new government in the 100 days?
Okay. I have mentioned the three key issues to be addressed. Yeah? I hope you heard. I think we will issue a press statement today. You will take a complete picture. We will issue a press statement to make it easier for you. The last 100 days, what the government has done, you know, since they took over, there have been certain reforms done immediately. I mean, you have been following what they have done. It's all in the newspapers, you know. Most importantly, this is a free government. You know. People are free now. Nothing is hidden from the public. That's very important. There's freedom of the media. Media can write what they like. As long as you don't get slander people. If you slander people, then of course the law will come after you. Yeah? As long as factual, constructive, the government will allow it. So far, that's what I see. Okay? So, yeah, ada lagi. Okay, okay.
Do you hope your recommendations will be made public?
I hope so. It's up to the government. Up to the government. It's up to the government.
You
Yeah.
hope that it is.
Yeah, I mean, all of us hope so. All of us hope so. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys have completed your 100 days,
Yeah.
a few days after the government has completed their 100 days. What's your review of their performance?
Who's for the government?
The government so far.
What do you think? I mean, what I think is not important. What Rakyat think is important. What the press think is important. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
From two times, there's been direct accusations against you by PKR leaders that you are trying to stop Anwar from becoming the Prime Minister. Can you address this allegation directly?
I read in the Star today. Have you read the Star today?
Right.
You got to go and read the Star. Have you read Anwar's latest statement? Have you read Anwar's latest statement today? Have you read? You better go and read it. Then you come back to me. No, I don't get involved. I don't get involved in people's politics.
I should realize that in your recommendations, you are not so much in favor of BRIM.
How do you know? Where do you read? Yeah, no. I just said we have addressed the issue of BRIM. How do you know about my recommendation? About recommendation?
Written here that
What?
it's not a very good handout.
Yeah, I said we can improve on BRIM. Yeah.
BRIM can be improved.
Yes.
But it also says it creates an independent culture.
Yeah. That's what I said. We can improve on it so that it doesn't become independent culture anymore. Okay? Yeah.
Haris from Malaysia TV. There were reports claiming that the CEP had big influence in GLC appointments. What is your comment on that? And secondly, do you think it's ethical for CEP to have its panel members like Sri Zeti to be appointed as a PNB chairman when these bodies report to CEP?
I don't think they report CEP. Why should they report the CEP? Where did you get this idea from?
You met with these GLCs, right? So these GLCs, basically the CEP's role is to advise the PM. So basically, it is similar to reporting to CEP.
Yeah, that's correct. As I told you, in order to get facts, information, we have to call the stakeholders. So we call that, and then we correct the information, analyze them, and then make recommendation to the government. Nothing to do with us. The fact that the government wanted to appoint Tan Sri Zeti, that's not CAP's role. You know? Okay?
CEP met with, in your list of meetings, you met with Arman Mustafa of Tadana 4 times. Why so many times?
We wanted feedback, you know, from not only from Khazanah, I think even in EPF, we asked EPF many times. I don't know why you like to monitor Azam Mawtawni, why?
Really, just curious why so many times.
Okay.
Why Tadana so many times?
Okay, it's good to be curious. Huh? That's good. But get your facts correct.
If the government were to follow your recommendations, all your recommendations, you think we'll be able to regain our fiscal health in 2 years? If the government was to follow your recommendations.
Yeah, depend on how we perform, the economy perform, you know. Depend on the budget that is coming, depend what's happening outside the country also. There are many factors that you think. There are many things that are not predictable, but we can follow and watch closely and monitor and take action to make sure that our objectives are met. That is very important, you know. And if I can predict correctly 2 years, I think we can all go to the stock market and make a lot of money.
Tun. Hey, Tun.
Yeah.
Tun, some people have alleged that the CEP is given with too much of a wide-ranging powers, and they have also cleared that the CEP has gone to the extreme of the unconstitutional. What is your response to that? Because you are unelected.
Okay. What powers do we have? Huh? What powers do we have? What powers do we have? Other than to gather information, analyze and advise. So what is too much power? And how do you come to that conclusion? I'd like to know. Or are you repeating what others say? And unconstitutional. Surely the Prime Minister can appoint anybody as his consultant, advisor. You mean the Prime Minister can't do it? Who has advised you that it cannot be done? And before this, as she mentioned, there was NEAC. Nobody objected to it in 1998. Sorry, yeah. Okay?
Good.
Yeah.
Were all of the CEP's recommendations guided by the Pakatan Harapan manifesto?
We try, to try and factor the manifesto into consideration. Yeah. Yeah.
You said, you mentioned that something needs to be improved. How can the government improve on it so that people are not dependent on it?
Yeah, okay. That's what I say, it's the recommendation. I cannot tell you here. Yeah, okay.
Beberapa kajian yang menunjukkan efektifness Pakatan Harapan Kerajaan tidak mencapai tahap yang dikehendaki. Jadi adakah kalau sebab dalam kabinet tu tak ramai yang pernah jadi menteri melainkan Perdana Menteri dan juga Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. Jadi sekiranya Prime Minister minta tolong Tun untuk sambung, would you be able to do that?
Tak payahlah. We have enough capable people. It's been a bit of time. Now that I have this, be a bit patient with them. They're in the learning process. Won't be long before they will master. At the ministries they are in charge. Inshallah.
How many recommendations? It's very broad, but in total, how many recommendations in the report?
I think it's all there. Yeah? First year, they are here, and there, and then some more the documents are there. You can go and have a look.
So what for us to see?
Yeah?
So what for us to see?
No, just see.
In total, how many recommendations? In total,
Many recommendations. Many. But the key, I said 3. The key I mentioned earlier is 3. Yeah. Okay.
I have one question. So many suggestions. What's the CEP's suggestion to increase more job opportunities and also increase people's income in the future in Malaysia?
Yeah, I mentioned it generally just now, but the details are inside here. Okay? Yeah? Let the government read first before they, if they decide to allow it to read, then they make it public. Okay?
So you maintain your stance. You said it before that you don't think we really need the ECRL because the people there prefer cash than trade in Kelantan. Do you stick to that?
No, I said this. The cost is too high. Yeah? And the project as it stands is not viable. Okay? Yeah? If it is viable, if anybody says viable, I think I have advised the government, let them take over. Okay? Let them do the project. Okay?
Like privatizing it?
Doesn't matter. Yeah. We can privatize it if they want. If any private sector thinks the project is viable, they can make money, let them do it. As far as we are concerned, we have to study it, it's not viable. It's the present cost. Okay?
But if there's a substantial reduction in cost, then you can proceed.
No, yeah. again, even with reduced costs, you must make sure that the revenue coming in is sufficient for the people. Yeah, the revenue coming in must also be important. You know? Operation cost is very important.
So what will be the government's policy for foreign investment by CEP's suggestion? For foreign investment, in the future.
We always welcome foreign investment. Since the time of independence today, we always welcome foreign investment. But it must benefit the country, and investor also must make profit, must create job, transfer technology. We have standards that we expect people to follow. Both sides must benefit, in particular, must create job for the country.
To roll out the recommendations, right? How much cost savings in terms of money or funds can the government save as a result of rolling out your recommendations?
Let the government have to do it. The cost saving measures will be done by the government, not by me. But definitely will cost save a lot of money.
Any figures, estimates?
There's so many agencies. Difficult for me to say that that's the figure that if I give, that's a correct figure.
Tun, again, this okay. I know you are being secretive about your recommendations to the PM, but can you give us a peek? You said that among the top 3 recommendations is the need to improve governance. Maybe you can give us a peek, maybe during these 100 days, what are the top 3 ministries or agencies or sectors that you feel that have the most need to improve their governance? Top 3.
Number 1, Ministry of Finance. Nomor 1, Ministry of Finance. Yeah. Number 2, most important, Ministry of Finance. Because Ministry of Finance must bring in money, revenue for the country, and make sure the expenditure is not wasted. And there must be no corruption. And don't politicize the civil service.
Yeah. There were concerns about the third national car. So, is there any recommendation pertaining to the issue, and what is your personal opinion? Do we have space for the third national car?
My personal view, the PM idea, is not so much the third national car. It is to make sure, number 1, we have the right education system to face the future, and the future industries are in manufacturing, future manufacturing, and certain type of manufacturing, mainly engineering skills. That's what you want in order to be able to compete in the future. So it's identified, I think, one is the automotive sector, which employs about 700,000 people now. But we have to upgrade our skills. So if we can produce the components first, that's important, so that we can supply and export to the motor industries. Then from there we start to upgrade until such time that we are in a position to produce not a Malaysian car, it's an ASEAN car, where the private sector will invest, not the government. That's my understanding.
Good, sir. Sir, over here, to your left.
Yeah, okay.
You mentioned that we must make sure that things like 1MDB never happen again. you said that the damage done to the government is pervasive. So far, only the ex-Prime Minister has been charged in court and a few other people. What about the rest? That's what the public wants to know. Previous ministers, previous bigwigs, the GLC people, whoever. I think the public is getting impatient that are these people going to walk scot-free? So is there a time frame, or can you tell us something what you've recommended in this time? Thank you.
That's not my role. Yeah, that's not my role. But yes, I agree, the rakyat is impatient. But in order to charge people, number one, you have to investigate. Yeah. Before this, there was no investigation. The last 100 days, they started to investigate. So there must be a priority. We have the MAC and the police to investigate. I think the present priority is to make sure certain individuals is being targeted first for investigation. And so far, I think they managed to get a former Prime Minister, and soon maybe a few more. But that takes any time. 100 days sometimes is not sufficient. You know, you have to take statements from witnesses, and then check statements against other witnesses to make sure that there is no contradiction. And then when it's ready, and for a period of time there was no AG, and now they have an AG, and he's in charge now, then he will be responsible for the prosecution. So we have to ask him, not me, whether it's ready for prosecution or not. Yeah? Yes, we are all impatient. And we want to see those who are guilty to be charged, but we need foolproof evidence. Otherwise, the Raya will say, look, we don't even know how to prosecute. Yeah? And it's going to be very bad for the government if you prosecute and lose. So it's to make sure that if you want to prosecute, make sure at least 90% is for conviction. Otherwise, don't waste public money. Yeah? Okay? Yeah. Anything else?
Any further questions?
Yeah. No, that's up to the government, not to me. Nomination. Yes. No. We have studied the DAT. We have made certain recommendations up to the government. Whether the government will implement our recommendation or not. Yeah.
What was your key findings on this?
I'm unaware. It's in bad shape. It's bad shape. The financial position is not in good shape. So we expect the rakyat to be patient while the government put things in order. The feedback is that the revenue as compared to last year has improved. People are more willing to pay tax now compared to last year. So insofar as their collection has improved compared to last year. These are good signs that people showing confidence in the government. They are prepared to come voluntarily and pay their taxes without having to go around, forcing them to pay, as in the past.
Any further questions? Can we take the last two?
Yeah, okay, still.
What is your one major concern? What is your one big concern that will derail our economic, our improvement, to keep the growth up? It's still 2020, that's not achievable. But what one fix it first that will entail this whole team of things that you have in mind?
Yeah. Okay. Number one, I want the rakyat to give support to the government. Be patient with what the government is doing. Yeah. Continue to support the government and let the government stay united and perform. Has the program in place and deliver to the rakyat. Let's have unity throughout the country. Stay united for a common purpose, that is to revive the economy for the benefit of all. That's my request to the rakyat.
Are you concerned that who's going to be the next Prime Minister?
I mean, the Patah Harapan decided that it should be Anwar, and Anwar should be the next one.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think we come to the end of the press conference. Thank you very much to Tun Daim and all the members of the council. Thank you very much.
Boleh.